Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the daily AI news you need in around 5 minutes. It is a big week for Nvidia as their GTC Developer Conference kicks off in San Jose. CEO Jensen Huang was scheduled to deliver his keynote on Monday morning, so we'll likely know more by the time this episode goes out. In the lead-up to the event, much of the speculation was around a new chip system developed in collaboration with Grok. That is G-R-O-Q, not G-R-O-K. Grok with a Q is the one that is not an Elon Musk company. Nvidia acquired the chip-making startup in December and are expected to announce the first collaborative product this week. The information described the new product as integrating Grok's language processing chips into Nvidia's rack-scale servers. If that's the case, this will be Nvidia's first attempt to directly address inference demand. Until now, Nvidia's chips have been world-leading in AI training, but haven't been particularly focused on efficient inference. That's where Grok steps in, delivering a chip tailored exclusively to inference workloads. Nvidia is expected to announce OpenAI as a buyer of the new chip. Sources said that production has been ramping up at Samsung's chip foundry and mass production is expected to begin in the second half of the year. Notably, this will be the first time Nvidia has manufactured an AI chip outside of TSMC, potentially diversifying supply chains out of Taiwan. The new servers also use Intel CPUs rather than Nvidia CPUs, according to sources, which suggests that Nvidia's chips don't integrate well with Grok chips at this stage. The sources added that multiple generations of hardware are being planned, with the potential to build Grok's technology into Nvidia's Feynman GPUs, which are the next generation following Rubin later this year. Outside of product releases, Nvidia's NeoCloud partners are stepping up operations. The information reports that Nscale is in negotiations to acquire a huge data center site in West Virginia. The site has cleared regulatory hurdles and is targeting 2 gigawatts of capacity by 2027. Now, the deal is a little unusual for a NeoCloud provider, which have typically rented data centers in the past. It would also immediately make UK-based Nscale a major player in the US market as they move towards an IPO. New documents surfaced by the information said that the acquisition would triple Nscale's revenue projections to $30 billion for 2027. They are reportedly in talks to rent the capacity to ByteDance, but could also rent their servers back to Nvidia. Writes More Insights and Strategy CEO and Chief Analyst Patrick Moorhead, Nvidia is no longer a chip company. As GTC 2026 opens, the company plans to present itself as a full-stack, heterogeneous AI infrastructure platform spanning training, prefill, decode, inference, and agent orchestration. Next up, while many software CEOs have been downplaying the AI disruption risks to their company this year, SEC filings are telling a different story. So far this year, 27 firms have listed AI agents as a material risk to their business model, up from just 7 this time last year. The list of companies warning about agents includes Figma, Workday, and HubSpot, whose CEOs have all recently dismissed concerns. During their most recent earnings call, Figma CEO Dylan Field said, "I think it is the case that humans will continue to use software, and increasingly agents will too, and I'm excited about that. However," he added, "I think right now, if you're willing to hand off mission-critical work to agents and just let them do it unsupervised, you're a very brave person." Meanwhile, Figma's 10K filing released on the same day acknowledged that agentic AI may, quote, "change how people access and interact with digital products in ways that reduce reliance on traditional software applications." Now, keep in mind, SEC filings should not be taken too literally. Companies are required to discuss any material risk to their business, which often leads to disclosures of fanciful or unlikely risks. Still, while individual disclosures don't tell us all that much, the volume is another signal that we've moved past the tipping point on agents. The idea that agents were capable of disrupting SaaS barely registered in the first half of last year, and yet disclosure volume rapidly increased in the second half and in the beginning of this year as the technology became more viable. If nothing else, the shift means software executives are taking the threat of disruption more seriously, or at least their legal departments are. Next up, ByteDance has paused the global launch of their cutting-edge video model due to copyright disputes. The information reports the global release of Seedance 2.0 has been mothballed due to a series of copyright disputes with Hollywood studios. Seedance 2.0 was released in China last month, gathering a huge online reaction. You might recall this viral clip with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in a fistfight, which demonstrated incredibly high-fidelity replication of real-world actors. The new model led to outrage in Hollywood, with companies including Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Netflix sending cease and desist notices to ByteDance. Motion Picture Association CEO Charles Rivkin said in a statement at the time, "Seedance 2.0 has engaged in unauthorized use of U.S. copyrighted works on a massive scale." ByteDance had planned to make the model available globally in mid-March. The plan included API access through their cloud platform, Byte Plus, as well as a new consumer app designed for a foreign audience. Those plans are now reportedly on hold. Chinese users, meanwhile, are reporting the model is far more tightly controlled than it was at launch, to the point of rejecting prompts with no relation to copyrighted content. Enterprise customers have complained that model access is limited to Chinese companies with no intention of distributing content internationally. One source said they've been unable to negotiate terms without committing to spending around $1.5 million on the model. Interestingly, it seems like the major holdup is not so much about implementing guardrails, but instead about refining them so that they don't block too much unrelated content. We've seen this with OpenAI's release of Sora 2 as well. While it is relatively straightforward to block copyrighted content, doing so without frustrating the user with too many refused prompts is a much more difficult engineering problem. And speaking of difficult engineering problems, a new AI startup led by former Anthropic founders is raising money to push the frontier of AI-enhanced scientific research. The new company, called Mirandil, is in talks to raise $175 million at a billion-dollar valuation. And if successful, the round would make Mirandil the latest AI startup to establish unicorn status in their seed round. The company is led by former Anthropic researchers Behnam Nishaber and Harsh Mehta, who spent their time at Anthropic working on things like long-horizon scientific reasoning with AI agents and automated AI research. Both founders also have experience at Google. Now, exactly what the company plans to do is not known yet, but sources say the new company aims to conduct AI-enhanced scientific research in fields including biology and material science. This area of AI research is quickly gathering interest in investment dollars as multiple neo labs focus on AI for science. I would expect this to be a trend that continues throughout the year. Speaking of Google, Google Maps is getting an AI twist with a new conversational interface. The new feature, called Ask Maps, allows users to tap into a Gemini-powered chatbot to help them navigate the world. The feature is designed to answer questions about landmarks and help schedule travel. Google gave small practical examples like being able to ask for a nearby location to charge a phone or find a public tennis court with lights for an evening match. The feature can also help with trip planning, with Google offering the example of building a multi-stop trip to the Grand Canyon. Writes Google, previously finding this information meant lots of research and sifting through reviews, but now you can just tap the Ask Maps button and get your questions answered conversationally, and with a customized map to help you visualize your options. The feature integrates with Gemini's memory, so if you ask Maps for a restaurant recommendation, it can tap into what Gemini already knows about your preferences. Google is also leveraging Gemini to launch a new visualization mode for navigation in Maps. The update adds a 3D view that depicts buildings, overpasses, and surrounding terrain. Once again, Google flexing its multimodality and the integration of its entire ecosystem. Lastly today, sort of a bridge topic to our main episode, ServiceNow CEO Bill McDermott has warned that AI could send unemployment soaring above 30% for young professionals. In an interview with CNBC, McDermott said that unemployment for college graduates could, quote, easily go into the mid-30s in the next couple of years. So much of the work is going to be done by agents, he continued, so it's going to be challenging for young people to differentiate themselves in the corporate environment. Now, according to data from the Federal Reserve, unemployment for recent college graduates currently stands at 5.6%, which is far lower than the 7.8% unemployment rate for young people without a college degree. However, 42.5% of college graduates are classified as underemployed, meaning they don't have enough work or are working in roles that don't require a college degree. This is the highest level of underemployment for college grads since 2020. Computer science majors have among the highest unemployment rates at 7%, but their underemployment rate is relatively low at 19.1% compared to other majors. Now, just why this type of discourse is so potent right now is in fact the topic of our main episode. So with that, we will close the headlines and move on over to the main.